Hey, Composite Gloves here. This is another video in the Music Theory Essentials, and today we're going to be talking about the circle of fourths and the circle of fifths. Now we're going to start talking about how chords relate to each other. I've given you enough information about chord qualities that you could probably start doing some pretty interesting things. So now let's talk about how to mix those things together. So we know that we have this stuff called perfect fourths and perfect fifths, and they do some interesting things. So if we play a C major chord, okay, now what if we want to play a chord that's really closely related? Well, we could go to the F major chord, but why F? Why that? Well, if we take our C major scale, best technique in the world, the picking technique, not really. So we have our C major scale, and we know that the perfect fourth is right here. Well, if we build a chord off the perfect fourth, we get this, and it's closely harmonically related to the F. Now the G is even closer related, because if you play a G major chord, there's no stronger relationship than going from the 5 chord, so a chord in the major scale built off the 5, which is the G, to a 1. It just sounds very final. There are also mathematical implications for why it does that. But let's go into the circle of fourths and fifths now. So if we go from our C and go up to the fourth, we get to the F, and we play that. We play a major chord on that. We just went, now we're in the F major scale, okay? So if we go up to the fourth in the F major scale, that's a B flat. Because 1, 2, 3, 4. So we got our B flat. So we play a B flat major. That flows really nice, and this relationship that we're recognizing here is called the circle of fourths. So you go up to the fourth, you switch to that scale, and then you go to the fourth in that scale. So if we went to the fourth in B flat, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4. So if we went to E flat, we would have the E flat major, and this relationship is called the circle of fourths. If you do it backwards, it's actually the circle of fifths. What the heck does that mean? Well, let's do the circle of fifths forward first. So we have C major. So let's like notate it. So we have C, and let's go to the fifth. So from C, we get to G, because the fifth is right here. Every time we play a major chord, we get the fifth. So we have our fifth, and that's a G. So now we're in the G major scale, and the fifth in G is D. So we're going to D. We're playing major chords, remember? So we're changing our scales as we do this. D major, well, the fifth in that is A. So we have A, the fifth in that is E. My circle is going to look all sorts of weird as far as where things normally go. E, so the fifth in that is B. And that's F sharp. That's C sharp. And you notice I'm moving around octaves. We're going to talk about inversions in a second here. So we have octaves, and so we have G sharp as our fifth. We get to E flat. Or yeah, we're just going to call it D sharp. Oh, we'll call it E flat. What the heck? We'll get weird. B flat, and from B flat you get F, and from F you get C. Told you my circle was going to get kind of funky. I was running out of space. Should have thought about that more. But as you see, if we go backwards, so this is a fifth, and eventually you get back to C. If we go backwards though, from C we get to F, that's the fourth, and the fourth in F is B flat, and the fourth in B flat is E flat, and it goes backwards. So this direction is the circle of fourths. This direction is the circle of fifths. And that's really important information. So learn and memorize this. And my challenge to you is now to go from, now that you know about inversions, you can go from C, and then you can go to F major just by keeping the C where it is. This is moving from go to the nearest inversion, the nearest voicing available from C to F. when you do that, you're going to start seeing all the inversions. That's kind of what separates okay musicians from great musicians, is when they can see those inversions and move seamlessly from them into a chord progression. So if we wanted to go the circle of fourths, we go C major, and now we want to go to the F major, so we know that F is these notes, but our C is already being hit, so we don't need to move that. So we go F to C, and now we say, oh man, let's go to the nearest inversion of B flat, which would be this guy. And then from there, we could hit the nearest inversion to E flat. So I'm doing it really fast right now, but you would think it out and think methodically about what would be the easiest way to go between these chords. And when you do that, you'll start seeing voicings and all these options, and now you're starting to get into chord progressions. And you can do the same way for the circle of fifths. So you go from C to G, you can go down, and from G you need to get to D, and from D you need to get to A, and so on and so forth. And then when you break from that circle, so you go from A back to D, and then you could go to like something crazy like E, which is, and since we're moving in the key of A, E is the perfect fifth of A. So we go from A to the fourth, then to the fifth in the same key though, so we didn't switch keys. And then back to A. And you're starting to build chord progressions based around this idea. Now, if that didn't make any sense, that is an indication that you do not know your chords and scales well enough. So go and learn those better and become more firm in that foundation area, and you will be able to understand that, and you can start moving into chord progressions and things. So that's all for this video. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments, and I'll try and help you to the best of my ability, and I'm sure someone in the comments will help you as well. And have a blessed day.